Hello and welcome to the Spirit Safe. My name's Rob. Thank you very much for joining me. At the end of last week's video I put out a poll and asked you to vote for which country's whisky would be reviewed this week. 1 for Scotch, 2 for Irish, 3 for American or 4 for Japanese, and at the moment it's a dead heat. So I want to roll this over actually for another week, so anybody who hasn't voted can vote on this video in the comments section. 1 for Scotch, 2 for Irish, 3 for American or 4 for Japanese in this video or in last week's video, which was the Stronach 10. So as we're rolling it over, I've picked this week's whisky. It's slightly unusual and it's the first independent bottling we've had on this channel because they're quite frankly not available to me in the Canadian market. It is the 15-year-old Mortlach, bottled by Gordon and Macphail. This is a small 35cl bottle. I really like these half bottles because it gives me the opportunity to try lots more. I quite like the early 80s style writing and everything. Bottled at 43%. It doesn't say anything about chill filtration or artificial colour. I have to say it's slightly orange, and this is a bit of a mystery because Mortlach is it's a Speyside distillery owned by Diageo, and Diageo would colour absolutely anything they could get their hands on, unfortunately, and chill filter almost anything they could get their hands on. I think they'd chill filter and artificially colour the elixir of life if they came across it, whereas in independent bottlings, chill filtration and artificial colour is rare. So it's somewhere between a rock and a hard place as to whether or not it's coloured or chill filtered. What I can tell you is that it's very good. So Mortlach, as I say, it's in a bit of a strange position, Mortlach, because it's got a real cult following. There haven't been very many, there have been almost no distillery single malts for a very, very long time, and it's in the wonderful stewardship of Diageo. And people who love it seem to think that Diageo are not treating it as nicely as they would like. Excuse me, same as most distilleries under Pernod Ricard or Diageo. It's a very traditional distillery and it's retained its traditions. They use worm tubs for condensing the whisky, and a lot of people say worm tubs give you a lot of sulphur because you get higher copper contact, and it's actually the opposite way round. You get a higher sulphur left in the whisky because there is less copper contact than there is with the modern condensers, which are like catalytic converters in cars, almost a honeycomb type arrangement, whereas the worm tub is a single snake of copper which gives less surface contact. So there can be a bit of sulphur in it, which won't be for everybody. I can't remember what I paid for this, to be perfectly honest. I've never had a bottle of Mortlach before. They only recently started doing distillery bottles. They do one called the Old Rare, which is no age statement, even though it's got the word old on it. It's not particularly rare either, and that rubs me up the wrong way. They have an 18-year-old, which is fantastically expensive. I think I was quoted £150 duty free for a 50cl bottle, which is really very, very expensive. So this 15-year-old, which I now think is on its way to being sold out, it offered really good value in comparison. So here we go. I've poured myself a glass already because it benefits from being left for a little while. Okay, there's something waxy, slightly rubbery. I got maybe a boot polish or furniture polish smell. It's a dense and thick spirit. kind of a Christmas cake with marzipan, more marzipan than icing. It's got that kind of almondy note to it. And I thought that there was some black olive as well. Some people say truffle oil, and yeah, it could be. It could be. That's a very strange thing to find in a Scotch single malt, but there's definitely something earthy, something that almost shouldn't be there. And again, it's the sulphur, which is there. I don't find it troublesome, but others might. There's the hint of the Matchbox Striker. Less than in the Craigellachie, but certainly after some of the alcohol fumes have come off, you do get a slight sulphur. Otherwise, it's fruity, quite heavily sherried, and there's wonderful red fruits of the forest. Real oakiness too. Real European oak. Mulled wine spices and cinnamon as well. The oak and the oak spice are vying with layers and layers of honey, and there is a spice there, but it's not sharp or sour. It's just really warming from the lips right down the throat onto the chest, warming all the way through. Really, really good. On the finish, there's a slight perfume. I'm enjoying this, and one of the reasons that I decided to review it now rather than later is so that the bottle doesn't evaporate on the shelf, which they have a habit of doing when they're very, very good. A hint of the sports shop, kind of all the new shoes in a sports shop. You know the smell. Fruity. Warm, oaky spiciness. In my notes here, because I usually try not to refer to notes, but this is so complex I just had to write just one or two notes. One of the things I wrote was Moorish dram! Exclamation mark, and it really is Moorish. It's intriguing, really, really good. I would normally have. I think that this 15-year-old independent bottling is on its way out now. I've seen it sold out virtually everywhere that it was once available. I would now go for the rare old. I've not tried it, but I would spend the $100 plus tax on a bottle. It's a 750 ml bottle in Canada. In the US, it's a 500. Be careful. 500 ml bottle in the UK, which I think is a bit cheeky for the price. They're clearly trying to, Diageo are clearly trying to place this as a luxury product, something to aspire to, and it is a very good dram. It is probably the jewel in their crown. I would buy the rare old. I'd buy this again in the shots if I could find it, but I think we're coming to the end of this run. I would buy the rare old. The 18 I think is just a bit too expensive. Another weird thing about Mortlach It's not double distilled, it's not triple distilled. They say it's 2.81 times distilled, because they have a strange arrangement with the distillation process. They have an extra still, which is a small still called the wee witchy, and some of the runoff from one of the spirit stills goes into the wee witchy for triple distillation. So not all of the spirit is triple distilled. I've read 2 explanations of what the process is. I have looked at a photograph of a sign in the distillery explaining it, and somebody in a whisky shop has explained it to me as well, and all 4 of those accounts varied from one another. There was so variance from one another. I think it's some kind of magic how they make this. Yeah, wonderful dram. I'm keen to learn more about Mortlach, and yeah, if I pick up a bottle of the Old Rare, I will certainly be reviewing it for you here. Okay, thank you very much everybody. We'll see you again soon. Bye bye.